trailers come up the long pond straightaway. Kyle Busch is all by himself now. He doesn't have anybody to deal with, or at least not during this lap. He comes across the tunnel turn, dials up the low lane, and swings that Toyota wide off turn 2.
Large gap back to his Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota, teammate of Daniel Suarez, some 15 or 20 car lengths, and Suarez having a career day in that second spot. Another 10 or 12.
Trouble in turn 2 off the racetrack, and pounding the wall is Bubba Wallace. I believe he exploded, either a tire or a brake, went down through the infield at the entrance of turn number 1 and has absolutely massacred the outside wall in turn number 1. We await to see some movement from the cockpit of that Ford. A vicious lick, very similar to the one suffered by Jeff Gordon a few years ago here at Pocono. You can see the burning piece of brake rotor on the grass down on the inside. Bubba Wallace with a vicious hit here in turn number 1.
All right, Dave, that's going to put us under the caution flag only for the 6th time here this afternoon. We're going to stay here, keep our eye on Bubba Wallace. The window net, Dave, just now coming down, and that's a good sign.
The window net is down. The safety crews are on the scene. Bubba Wallace is at least giving the indication that he is conscious and reasonably okay. But, boy, if it doesn't take him a few minutes to catch his breath after that lick, I don't know why.
It was just announced this week that Bubba is staying with Richard Petty Motorsports through 2020. Started off with a really good kind of high step here this weekend, but winding up with a hard crash into the wall in turn number 1. He has climbed from the car and obviously quite shaken. Now he sits down on the asphalt, leaning against the car. The safety personnel are there, but he did climb out of the race car, so apparently nothing too severe there for Bubba Wallace.
Yeah, kind of pushed a safety worker away gently, like, okay, just take your hands off me for a minute. I need to sit down, and that's exactly what he has done. We'll go back out to Dave in a minute and get a recap after we take a break. How about this now? Does that change everything? Yeah, it does. There's 5 laps to go, and we are under caution. Many of us right now getting an opportunity to see the crash by Bubba Wallace for the first time, if we missed it, where they've been showing it here at the track on the ISM Vision. And I don't know what other word to use other than vicious. Rusty, he just pounded the outside wall.
To me, it looks like he knew he was in trouble. He lost the brakes. Instead of trying to stay up on the track, he went down to the grass to try to slow the car down, bounced all the way through the infield, went straight up, hit the wall head on. But the barrier, guys, that barrier saved his butt. I mean, that safer barrier we've got nowadays in NASCAR really took a lot of the blow out. But this car is literally destroyed. But it appears to me that he had a brake failure, could not stop this car at all. I remember the year that happened to Jeff Gordon, when Jeff Gordon had a brake failure, did the same thing, went for the grass to try to knock off some speed, hit the wall with such a violent hit, it was just unreal.
Didn't you have a hard hit down there as well?
I blew a left front tire going into turn 1 back in the day with Dale Earnhardt right behind me. I hit the wall head on. He met me at the airport. He said, I watched that whole thing. I can't believe you're standing here. I thought you died that day. It was a terrible hit, but you got such high speed going into 1. But this was hard to watch. It really was. But it was really good to watch, to see Bubba get up and get in that ambulance and head over to get checked out now.
Well,
thanks to that safer barrier. That's the difference, yeah.
Absolutely. And the guy that had his eyes locked on all of this while it unfolded was Dave Moody, who is positioned down in turn number 1 here at the Pocono Raceway. And I guess I would use the word gingerly. That would describe Bubba. Would you not agree, Dave, once he got out of the race car to get into the safety vehicle and come back around to the care center?
Yeah, moving very slowly right now. A bit of a limp, Jeff, favoring one leg as well, you might imagine. He's not nearly as sore as he's going to be tomorrow morning, but you're right, a very reminiscent wreck to the one Jeff Gordon suffered. Coming into turn 1 where you apply the brakes, it looked to me that one of the front brake calipers just exploded. He did everything he could possibly do, turned the car hard to the left, went down through the infield grass. You can see the tire marks where that car went through the grass and tore up a bunch of sod. There's a space of probably 15 to 18 feet where that car did not even touch the ground. It came right back across the racing surface, went virtually head on or tail on into the safer barrier about 15 feet to our left. And at the risk of being over dramatic, that's the kind of wreck, Rusty Wallace, that 20 years ago might not have been survivable. And today, Bubba Wallace climbs out of that car, walks to the ambulance under his own power.
Yeah, I tell you what, thank gosh for the development of the safer barrier, too, just like you said, because I really don't think, I think you're exactly right, Dave, I really do. I think back in the day you couldn't have survived a wreck like that. That was so vicious with such high speed just now. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, but thank gosh he walked out of that thing. There's nothing left of the car. He's limping like you said, but let's hope he's going to be fine.
Safer barriers installed all the way around the racetrack, both outside and inside. All of the safety components that they use inside these race cars. And we all just witnessed a violent crash, but we also witnessed a driver climb out of the car and headed to the infield care center. Kim Kuhn is there. She'll give us the very latest. But the good news is for Bubba Wallace, he got out of the car under his own power and walked over to the ambulance. By the way, we did go under the red flag, so we've stopped the cars with 6 laps to go, make it 5, and we'll reset it for you when we come back. From Pocono Raceway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.